Welcome to the Alsco Uniforms It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Join us as we spend time with regional managers and national sales managers to discuss their team's growth journeys. In this podcast, we'll talk about sales and service collaboration, celebrate customer retention wins, and highlight stories of service excellence. I'm your host, Dana Craig. Let's get started. Hi, Jay. How are you doing?
Doing very well.
So, Jay Addis, Region 1?
Region 1,
okay.
Formerly known as the safety guy. That's right. Yes.
So you are overseeing Region 1 now, and we're 8 or 9 months in, I guess, to that effort. Yeah.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about what you did at Alsco before, and then I know you have a history in the industry kind of vendor-wise too.
Sure.
So that's kind of an interesting story.
So been in the industry now a little over 15 years. Worked with Alsco for most of those 15 years. Before joining Alsco, very, very different. I did sales and service for a company called Tingyu, where we work on the flat work ironers. That was my specialty. Believe it or not, I can take apart and put together an ironer, maybe. I don't know if I still can, but I could at one point.
Yeah. We won't challenge you with that, at least not today for sure.
I'm sure I could watch. And then I got the opportunity to join Alsco when they were embarking upon a journey, maybe not unlike today, where they didn't totally know where they were going to go.
Right.
And that was a focus on safety. They knew they wanted to be safer. And didn't exactly know how and who the players should be to help them get there. And I was very intrigued, not being a safety professional, but being someone who definitely likes to get behind a cultural change that makes sense. And there was a total commitment from Alsco for that, and it was I learned a ton. Great journey. I think I built a pretty good team there.
So that started in 2019, is
2019,
that? Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so about 4 years under your belt there before transitioning into this new role.
Almost to the 5, and then, regional manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so up to this point, how has your team or region's growth journey been?
First word I think about is probably early, but not really. So I have one of my senior general managers has a great saying here to say, this is really nothing new. We should be doing this all along.
Right.
We should be growing this business, our business, Alsco's business. We should be out in the community, working together. And that's kind of how I see it. So it's early in all of the things that we have to do to get very focused on that. But it's coming together well. And I think the number one thing that we leaned into early on was OneTeam. Can we throw out a hashtag on a podcast?
You bet.
Hashtag OneTeam, we say that a lot in Region 1, and we still have work to do there. But breaking down barriers, right? Old history.
Absolutely.
OneTeam.
And you have a lot of tenured, not just general managers, but probably in other roles too.
Absolutely.
So that can be. And it's interesting too, I think, with growth. You're right. We're trying to find this balance between making it feel revolutionary while at the same time knowing that it's not revolutionary, right?
Yeah.
And that takes a bit of finesse that I imagine you're pretty good at striking that balance there.
I think I look forward to, and I completely see experience, newer, been around for a while. There will be a day in the not too distant future where we will all say, of course, this is exactly what we should be doing. This is what we did, what we're going to do better, and this is what we do, and because it makes sense, absolutely. And I don't think it's that far off.
Right. Good. Well, that's really great to hear. So as you've been traveling around, and I know particularly in the first few months, you did just so much travel. So Region 1 is largely Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
You've got kind of all the way up to Anchorage.
Correct.
And then Salt Lake is as
Salt
far
Lake.
south as you go?
That's right. Yep.
So you were traveling a ton.
Yep.
What were some great things that you were seeing that made you optimistic about having taken the role?
Oh boy, a lot to work with there. First thing that jumped out to me, having been in the industry for 15 years and having worked in the Northwest for a lot of that 15 years, been in the Alscos a lot over that time period, I've never seen them look better. They really had taken the safety in 5S, seriously, and really, really proud of that. Pleased with that.
And you didn't get the sense it was the midnight paint rush before Jay showed up?
There's no way. There's
okay.
no chance. No, it was really integrated. The cultural unity that it takes to accomplish that, what made me really excited, because I thought, we're ready.
Right.
We're ready to focus on that next thing. We've got a great foundation. So let's lean into this growth thing. And so it was very exciting to see that.
So do you have any stories you want to share about some great sales and service or sales and operation collaborations that you've been able to witness or hear about?
Yeah, sure. A couple, several to work with, luckily.
Good.
But two kind of that I really wanted to point out are customer excellence is a focus of ours.
Good.
And so one of the things that drove me a little crazy in the beginning at taking a regional manager role, and maybe even joining Alsco and just being the outsider guy for a few days, right, was our focus on not losing something, or our focus on someone not quitting, or so we have flipped the script. We want to focus on winning. We want to focus on customer excellence. We want to get in front of these things, create relationships that drive value over time.
Right.
And we're going to be working on it for a while. But Reno does a really good job with that, because they leverage the power of the full team. So taking that one team concept and knowing that our RSRs do a very specific particular job and our salespeople do a very specific particular job, but there's carryover and crossover.
Sure.
And so they are collaborating ride-alongs, sales blitzes where the service team is involved as well.
Oh, great.
They've really done a terrific job of just saying, forget what your normal day-to-day is. How can we best leverage each other's strengths and talents to serve that one goal of customer excellence? There was an expression that developed recently from just that, and that is that sticky part. And, what do the growth meetings look like? What are you go out and see X number of customer visits, right? And there was some hang up around, well, what if we see one less or one more?
Right.
And I started developing, and even myself, I found myself kind of going in that lane. And I said, if it's not happening informally, organically, formalize it until it becomes informal.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Then it's culture. It's a part of your process. And so that's what we're working on now. If we're not doing that day to day organically, then we need to formalize it until it becomes a habit.
That's a great way to think about it. And I remember my dad always used to say, because I would get all hung up on getting good grades, and he would say, just focus on the learning and the grades will come.
Sure.
And so that's kind of a similar vein here. They were so focused on is it 3 or 4? Is it over a week or is it a month?
That's right.
Which eliminates the ability to really understand and embed the value of the activity in your head.
That's right.
So if you just focus on doing it, the grade is going to come, and the grade for us, of course, is going to be in those growth numbers. So in terms of the growth meetings, and I'm sure you've sat in on more than your share at this point, are you seeing them kind of take root, take hold? If you looked at one in January versus looking at one in July, what are some differences that you see?
Yeah, so we still have some work to do to bring it all together. There's certainly some, wow, that looks great.
Yeah.
That's working. And there's some where it's just still a little clunky.
Mm-hmm.
So my focus in August is actually, I'm calling it August Assessment Month, where we're just going to, I use the term relentlessly self-assess and do just that, check in. So some of the things that I see that are really working is when I can tell this is not the first time we've talked.
Mm-hmm.
So there's references all throughout the growth meeting from the week before and where they're going this week.
Exactly.
It's everything's in motion.
You're finishing each other's sentences, or going, oh, that's right, we talked about that on Tuesday, and then
where are we going? How can I help you? Which customer can I go help you close? The opposite of that, where we still need some work, is this is obviously the first time we've seen this information.
Right.
Maybe we're not even totally prepared for this still.
Yeah.
And we don't have anywhere for the general manager to go, or maybe the general manager is still office bound, right? That's not what we're going for.
Right.
And so that's what we're going to do in August, is just share those best practices and say this is the way forward.
Yeah. So there's a lot of focus, of course, on the next 100 days in particular, but really as we lead into the last half of the year, which is going to act as a springboard and platform for us to grow into 2025, what are the challenges that you see for this back half of the year, and how are you tackling that?
Yeah, one of the most exciting things we did recently was splash cold water in our face a little, in particular at the leadership level. And we had gravitated, and Jim Kearns mentioned this, he took total ownership of it. I love it, in his message to us recently.
Yeah. Mixed
messaging.
Yes.
Some old habits were creeping back in. I can certainly attest to that. So rather than, I had developed the comment of, well, we're really just looking at our business every 15 days. And that's all that matters, right? And that's short-sighted.
Yeah.
And so now I'm challenging everyone to come up with a 3-year vision where they really want to be. Who's it going to take? What's it going to take?
Right.
How are you going to do it? And then talk to me today from this meeting, this customer interaction, forecasting, the closing of the month, whatever. How did that play out in your 3-year vision?
Right. How does that support
That's
where
right.
you said you wanted to be?
That's
yeah,
right.
That's
So,
great.
So again, with the August focus in that back half of the year is going to be very intentional, very focused on building that 3-year vision, making sure the team is right, no mixed messaging, everything supports growth in that 3-year vision. And what are we doing today to take that one step forward towards it?
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate all the time that you've spent with us today.
You're very welcome.
Anything else that you want to share with us?
Well, I
before
would
you?
be remiss if I didn't take one story and show an example that I hope translates everywhere.
Okay.
And that was, that's going to be Medford. And we have sales and GM very, very engaged in their business. And very good intentions, very good at what they do, but they weren't really jiving.
Right.
And it wasn't broken, but it wasn't working well. And it did not take a lot of conversations. I thought it would, to be honest with you. But we kind of just circled the wagons. We're fully transparent, fully honest on what we're really trying to accomplish, and quickly determined the only way we're going to get to that ultimate success goal is going to be through working together. And they immediately started working together on installations in particular, and kind of sending the full force at every installation. And that allowed so many borders to get broken through.
Yeah.
And it did something I knew it would kind of do that, but it did something else. And that customer now is set up for such a good success journey moving forward. And both sides of the ball have a very clear picture of what it took, what the products were, all the intricacies of the customer. And so moving forward, they also have a clear picture of how to continue to communicate.
Right, and meet those expectations that the customer has.
Correct.
And that handoff point from sales into service is so key, so critical, to have a mutual respect for how each of you play into it, but to really live it out together probably is what made the difference there.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing that everywhere.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Well, that's exciting. Thank you. I'm glad that you shared that.
Certainly,
and
yeah.
Hashtag OneTeam. We
One
look forward
team,
to hearing how Region 1 continues on its growth journey.
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
That's all for today's episode of the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of Alsco uniforms, where we explore the growth and challenges in our industry. Tune in next time for more industry insights, growth strategies, and tales from the field. If you've enjoyed our time together, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to learn more about our services, visit us at alsco.com. From all of us here at the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast at Alsco Uniforms, thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you in the next episode.